What's good, y'all? What's the numbers TV? It's your boy Po Ro. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and like a video if you appreciate the content that Po Ro and What's the Numbers Zaya providing. Today we back with another profile piece. This was on a rap out of Atlanta named Dolla, real name Roderick Burton, and the situation surrounding his death on May 18th of 2009 at the Beverly Center out in LA. Before we get into that situation, let's take a look at who Dolla was, get some background information on him. From what we know, he was born in Chicago, spent some time in LA, but mostly lived in the Atlanta area. Now, he'd been rapping since young, even in early 2000s. He was part of a group. The group had a label deal, but it didn't have too much commercial success, and it eventually got dropped. But during that time, he was able to get his foot in the door, meet a few people, and two of the people he met during that time was Puff Daddy and Akon. Now, after the group gets dropped from their label deal, Dolla ends up getting picked to be one of the faces, one of the models for Sean John Clothing, which is Puff Daddy's clothing line. So after doing that for a little while, getting his face out there a little more, doing some commercials, doing some billboards, doing some magazines and things like that, he eventually signs a music deal now with Akon's Convict Music label. So after doing that, releasing some songs, he has some songs on different soundtracks and all that. He drops a song with Akon and T-Pain, which ends up being his highest, his most commercial success song. It gets to number like 80 something on the top 100 Billboard charts. And he starts gearing up, gaining some traction basically in the music industry, getting ready to drop a solo major label album. So that's what he was doing. Supposedly, if he was out in LA, he was gearing up to start recording some music for his album that was coming out later that year, when everything with his death took place. So we're gonna get into that now. So like I mentioned earlier in the video, Dolla was reportedly out in LA recording for his debut album that was set to come out later that year. When on the day of May 18, 2009, he ends up at the Beverly Center at P.F. Chang's having lunch. Is there sitting down with his entourage that he notices a familiar face walking by him. They lock eyes and he recognized the familiar face to be a guy by the name of Aubrey Berry, who he had an incident weeks prior in an Atlanta club, with reportedly Dolla and his crew getting the best of the situation. Now, we don't know exactly what took place from there until the valet center, because it's different stories on both sides. What we do know is that Dolla ended up getting shot and killed at the valet center, and Aubrey Berry gets captured in LA at LAX airport with a gun in his waist. So after Dolla gets killed at the Beverly Center and Aubrey Berry gets arrested at LAX, the court proceedings play itself out for the next year till eventually on May of 2010 the trial starts for Aubrey Berry in charge of murder for killing Dolla at the Beverly Center. Now, the defense has this version of events, the prosecution has his version of events. The prosecution basically saying it was a revenge killing from Aubrey Berry getting beat up at the club in Atlanta. He traveled to LA with a gun that wasn't licensed, basically with one thing on his mind, and tracked Dolla down. And when he came across him at the Beverly Center, that it was all planned, that he knew what he was going to do. Now, the defense has a little more detailed version of events. One thing they bring up is Dolla's alleged involvement with a gang in LA called the Mansfield Crips. Now, it's a pretty known gang out in LA. They're saying that Dolla was a member. He had gang tattoos on his hands and his fingers, stating that he was a member. They also saying that basically Dolla and them rushed out. They got videos saying that Dolla and his entourage rushed out of P.F. Chang's without paying their bill, basically after having words with Berry inside the P.F. Chang's. Once Berry left, it shows on the video that Dolla and his crew leaving out behind. They also say the waiter also corroborates that story by saying that Dolla and them left out without paying their bill. Now, the shooting itself is not on camera, but the valet did say some words was exchanged, even though he didn't see Dolla nothing being the aggressive or whatever, but some words were exchanged. Now, they was trying to argue, the prosecution was trying to argue that he shot him in his back, this, that, and the third, but the defense was saying he was scared, being of his Crip involvement, the situation that happened before, and the threats that was being made, and that he was scared, and it was all, basically he was life or death situation that he felt that he had to, shoot to save his life. And eventually the jury believed that and found him not guilty of all charges, gun charges, a murder charge, and everything. The parents and the family of Dolla, they felt it hard. Obviously, they wasn't happy with that verdict. Aubrey Berry, he was, relieved to be found not guilty and get his life back for something that he said basically was something he had to do in self-defense to keep his life. He felt like he had to take a life to keep his life. So, this was the story of Dolla. When I first started doing these profile pieces, this was one of the most requested video, So I took some time to do it, but I got it done for y'all, So if you like What's the Numbers, you like the content, subscribe, like, share. And we finally hit that 20K. Salute. To my donate, I got one person that be donating consistently, my man Gil. Good looking out, bro. I appreciate it. And follow the Instagram, follow the Patreon, and I'll be right back before you know it, man. I'm out of here. It's Poe Rowe. Peace.